Hello there, my imaginary students. Okay, so this is the continuation of your chapter 2 in purposive communication entitled Globalization and Communication. Let's have a little review from what we have studied the last time we met. Okay, so we have already discussed the important role of culture in globalization. We already defined culture. So it's any shared set of your beliefs, value system, principles, preference in food, language, clothing, okay, practices, your superstitions, etc. of the people living together in one geographical area, for instance. And we have also enumerated the 5 characteristics of culture, and these are cultures are learned, they are not innate, because you're not in possession of that practice or of that culture the moment that you were born, the moment that you got out from your mom's womb. Hindi ka naman agad nakabahag sa situation ng mga igorot. Okay, natutunan na lang nila ang practice na yan upon observation, okay, upon seeing people from their surrounding. Okay, second, cultures are shared definitely through globalization, all made possible by globalization. Koreans share their culture through their movies, through their songs, through their dance, or food, or clothing. So far, ang trend natin ngayon here in the Philippines ay ayun nga, K-pop, Korean drama series, movie series, ayan. Okay. And then just recently, yung concert ng ating Blackpink in your area. Okay, and the third one, cultures are multifaceted, it has many faces. Number 4, cultures are dynamic, it changes over time, they change over time. And number 5, cultural identities are overlapping because of your second characteristic, which is cultures are shared. Okay, we overlap with others' characteristics, others' features, others' identities, kung paano sila kilala. Halos ganoon na rin tayo kasi nga na-embody na rin natin, we embody their practices, okay, or their preference in food or in clothing. O dapat mga Koreans lang sana ang kilala sa pagsusuot ng mga crop top, but because we see them and we idolize them and we respond to the trend, ayan, ganun na rin tayo kilala. So, cultural identities are overlapping. Hindi mo masasabing ang mga Koreans lamang ang nagsusuot ng crop top or mga Americans lamang ang nagsusuot ng necktie. So, necktie is not a sole identity of Americans, but it can actually already be associated with other races, such as ours, such as the Filipino race. So, cultural identities are overlapping. And now, what we're going to learn this afternoon are the means on how we can adapt to culture. Okay, cultural adaptation. Paano kaya natin na-adapt ang isang kultura, specifically, for example, when we are in another place, not in our original hometown or original home country, because of our education or because of a job. So we have to adapt to the environment, to the practices, to the beliefs, to the food, to the language. And did you know that there are means, there are ways on how we can do that? There are actually 5. These are cultural integration, assimilation, accommodation, multiculturalism, and separation. Okay, by the way, I think I have already told you, acknowledged him during the first time that I opened this material, but because this is a recorded video lecture, let me tell you again that this material is from Sir Aaron Valerio. Okay, we're both teaching purposive communication, and he generously shared this material to me. Siya ang gumawa nito. Okay, si Sir Aaron Valerio ay faculty member din ng General Education under College of Education here in PSU San Carlos Campus. Okay, so let's continue with our discussion. Cultural adaptation are some ways on how people cope with new cultures, such as these 5 enumerated here na nabasa ko na kanina. Let's go over them one by one, starting with cultural integration. When we say cultural integration, this is a form of cultural exchange in which one group assumes the beliefs, practices, and rituals of another group without sacrificing the characteristics of its own culture. So this is taken from Cultures and Traditions 2017. Take note, class, that in cultural integration, Although you are practicing or already believing in the beliefs or practicing the behavior of the people in your new place or in your host culture, it doesn't mean that you have to forget your own culture, yung pinanggalingan mo, hindi. So kahit na natuto ka for example ng Iloco dahil ikaw ay nag-aral sa La Union, it doesn't mean to say that you forget the Pangasinan language or dialect. Okay, yun ang cultural integration. You are adapting to the new culture without forgetting your original culture. Take note of that. And second, okay, some explanation, further explanation for cultural integration. We have when people from a culture adopt the essence of another culture, such as its attitudes and ceremonies, while at the same time maintaining their own culture. Again, in cultural integration, you adopt the essence of another culture, so you may be possessing attitudes and characteristics of the people living in there, and you are already attending ceremonies, naniniwala ka na rin sa mga beliefs, pero hindi mo pa rin kinakalimutan yung kulturang pinanggalingan mo. That is cultural integration. We have here a root word, integrate, which means to form, coordinate, or blend into a functioning or unified whole. Unite, integrate. You are integrating yourself to that particular culture, to that particular community, uniting with the people in your host community. Okay, so for the second type of cultural adaptation, we have what we call here cultural assimilation. It occurs when members of one cultural group adapt the language, practices, and beliefs of another group, often losing aspects of their traditional culture in the process. So this is from Cultures and Traditions 2017. Cultural assimilation class is the exact opposite of cultural integration. If in cultural integration, you are adopting the beliefs, the principles of the place that you're currently in without forgetting your original culture, your original practices, your original language, your preference in food, in clothing, here in cultural assimilation, kinakalimutan mo na yung pinanggalingan mo. You are totally immersing yourselves with the people or in the new place that you are currently in. Because here in cultural assimilation, the key term or the root word is assimilate, which means to make similar. So how are you going to make yourselves similar with the people in your host culture? Of course, you have to eradicate or erase that unique features of you or characteristics of you that differ from them. So, kakalimutan mo yun, i-erasein mo yun para maging mas kapareho mo sila. Ang i-adapt mo yung mga kultura nila at kinakalimutan mo na yung pinanggalingan mo in cultural assimilation. Okay, now the third one, it refers to the process by which individuals may take on values and beliefs of the host culture and accommodate them in the public sphere while maintaining the parent culture in the private sphere. So this is the third type of cultural adaptation. We call these cultural accommodation. Dito sa cultural accommodation, may similarity din siya sa cultural integration because you do not forget your original culture here. Kaya nga lang, meron tayong dalawang konsepto rito sa cultural accommodation. We have what we call public sphere and private sphere. So for example, I am originally from Pangasinan and I'll be working in Dimsu, which is located in Agoo, La Union. In my office there or in the school inside the campus premises, I will be manifesting behaviors of an Ilocano. I'll be speaking Iloco, I'll be eating their food, and I'll be behaving at a certain manner in which Ilocanos behave. But when I go home, so private sphere ko, for example, yung boarding house ko, ang mga behavior ko doon ay yung original culture ko. Okay? So for example, sa boarding house, maaari na akong magsalita ng Pangasinan. Ayan. In contrast to when I am inside the campus premises na public sphere ko yun at doon ko ipapakita yung culture ng host country or the place where you are currently in. Okay, hope that's clear. Cultural accommodation is almost similar with cultural integration in a sense that you adapt to new culture without forgetting your own culture. But in here, in cultural accommodation, there are two concepts. We have the public and the private sphere. Ipapakita mo sa public sphere yung kultura ng bago mong tinitirahan or the new place that you're currently in, and then public sphere, doon mo naman minamanifest yung mga behavior mo, yung mga practices mo doon sa original culture mo. Okay? Now, we move on to the fourth type of cultural adaptation, which is multiculturalism, which means that it is the counterpart to cultural assimilation, in which cultural diversity is encouraged and valued as beneficial to society. This follows the core ideology of live and let live. I think among the 5 means to cultural adaptation, number 4 is the best, multiculturalism, because in this type of cultural adaptation, everyone is actually given the equal opportunity to present himself in the global arena, to just be free in expressing himself or in practicing his original culture, his beliefs, ayan, in wearing what he wants to wear, and in accordance to the core ideology, live and let live, mamuhay ka at hayaan mo rin sila na mamuhay according to how they want to live. So you live accordingly how you would like your life to be lived, and let others live also. Let others also live the way that they want to live. So walang pakialamanan sa multiculturalism. Diversity is encouraged kahit na magkakaiba kayo. You have given equal opportunity to present yourselves in the global arena, for example. So the global arena, yun ang tinatawag natin na multicultural. There are many cultures. So many, and then culture. And last one, separation. Last form of cultural adaptation, we have separation. This happens when one cultural group refuses to interact or join the dominant culture. Members of this group prefer to interact with the members of their own culture, so they are often known as outsiders. Gamble and Gamble, 2013. So here in separation, from the word itself, people here separate themselves from the people belonging to the place that they are currently in, because they believe here in separation that their culture or their original culture is the best. Meron tayong konsepto na tinatawag na ethnocentrism. Ethno means ethnic, o yung values, beliefs, principles, yung identity mo, and then centrism, yung nakacentralize lang doon, pang sarili. So naniniwala sila na yung kultura nila ang pinakamaganda or pinaka-okay na. That is why they are not open to learning other culture, kasi nga naniniwala sila na yung kultura nila ay yun na yung the best, and so they are not open to adapting to new cultures. So hindi sila nakikisama. Separation, they separate themselves from the dominant culture. Okay, so those are your 5 types or means on how you can culturally adapt. Number 1, let's just repeat, cultural integration. You integrate yourself. You practice the new culture without forgetting your original culture. And then cultural assimilation, exact opposite of cultural integration. You make yourself similar to the host culture. That is why you are erasing your original identity. And in accommodation, there is a concept of public sphere and private sphere. And then multiculturalism, the best among the 5. You are free to express yourselves, given the equal opportunity to present yourself in the global arena. Yan, diversity is encouraged. And then the last one, separation. You separate yourself from the dominant culture or from the people of your current place. Okay, hindi ka nakikihalubilo, hindi ka nakikisama, hindi mo inaaral yung kanilang lengguwahe, hindi ka kumakain ng kanilang pagkain, or hindi ka nagsusuot ng kanilang kasuotan, etc. Separation. Okay. Now we have here, what is this? The nature of cultural differences. Okay, we have how many concepts? Leadership, work productivity, group allegiance, and task commitment. And this is for your further reading instead. Let's stop at those 5 types of cultural adaptation. Okay? Let's discuss these sa next natin na meeting, I think it's online. Alright.